Hey Team Monterey, this is Tyler Eanes here if you don't know who I am, and thank you Pastor Carl for asking me to do the devotional for today. Well, this won't take long, just a few moments of your time, but right now I'm here at Myrtle Beach with my family on vacation. And when I look out at that massive ocean, I think of all the salt that it is filled with, and how Jesus told us that we are the salt of the earth. And we find this in Matthew 5:13. Matthew 5:13, "You are the salt of the earth. But if the salt loses its flavor, how shall it be seasoned? It is then good for nothing, but to be thrown out and trampled underfoot by men." There's a few characteristics that salt has. Salt preserves, salt heals, and salt gives taste. Salt preserves through us putting it on food and letting it be preserved until we cook it, until it's time to be cooked. Salt heals wounds, ulcers, whatever. And then salt gives taste, of course, to like fries and different other kinds of food. It brings out the taste. And those characteristics can be related to our Christian life. Because we are the salt of the earth, we are to preserve the earth. And what I mean by that is that we are to keep the world from the spread of sin. Through the power of Christ and through our salt in the world, we can hinder the spread of sin. And we do that through sharing the gospel, through letting the world know about Christ. And we also heal the world. We have the good news. The world is brokenhearted. The world is hurting. The world needs hope. And we have that hope. And that hope is found in Christ, in us. But because we have that hope, we can give it to others. And through that, we are healing the world through Christ. We are called the ambassadors of Christ. And He has given us the ability and the power to share the gospel to the broken world. And lastly, we are to give taste. Sometimes taste is good, sometimes taste is bad. And what I mean is the world's not going to like us all the time. As Christians, we're going to be persecuted. But we're still called to give taste. Christ got persecuted. Every time I read the Gospels, I see Christ, man, they wanted to kill Him. And what they did to Christ, they're going to want to do to us. And when we share the good news, it's not going to come across as good news to a lot of people because of sin. But we are to be the ones to give the taste of Christ to the world. When people look at us, they're supposed to see Christ. They're supposed to see the Jesus in us, the light. In the next few verses, Jesus says that we are the light of the world. That means that we are shining Jesus to the world. And it's the same thing with salt. We are to give the taste of Christ. The world should be able to taste a little bit of Christ in all of us. So really my question for me, because this tore me up when I read it, is how do we taste? How is your taste to the world? In 2 Corinthians 2:15, it says that we are the fragrance of God to the saved and among the non-saved. So how is your fragrance? Do you smell good or do you smell bad? Are you given a true representation of Christ or are we not? And I would just like for us to think of that going into the mission trip because, whether it's in America or whether it's in Australia, or Europe or Canada, Mexico, wherever we go, the world is brokenhearted and the world needs healing. And that healing is only found in Christ. But they're not going to want what we have until we truly show the real Jesus in us. And we just got to be the true representation. So I just want you to think on that and just think, how can I change or how can you change to be more like Christ, to give the true light to the world and to give the hope of the world, and that's Jesus Christ. And so I'm thankful and I'm stoked that I can go on this mission trip. And sorry this isn't some extravagant video or anything.